Welcome to the Moffitt Method Podcast, where longtime strength and conditioning coach Tommy Moffitt explores everything from the art of coaching, improving performance, sports nutrition, and mental training. Now, welcome your host, Coach Tommy Moffitt.
Welcome to the Moffitt Method Podcast, and I'm your host, Tommy Moffitt. If you're listening for the first time, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends. For more information about the Moffitt Method Speed, Strength, and Conditioning Program, please visit our website, themoffittmethod.fit, or email us at info@themoffittmethod.fit. Our incredible guest today is Dr. Lorenzo Guess from Michigan State University. Dr. Guess, who is in his 12th year at Michigan State, was named the Director of Athletic Performance in July 2022. He had previously served as the Associate Head Strength and Conditioning Coach for the Spartans. Dr. Guess was named a Master Strength and Conditioning Coach by the Collegiate Strength and Conditioning Coaches Association in May of 2020. Dr. Guess holds certifications from the SCCA, the NSCA, and USA Weightlifting. In addition, Dr. Guess serves as the Director of Player Enrichment, which includes coordinating and supervising all aspects of player development programming for Michigan State football. A former Spartans safety, Dr. Guess returned to East Lansing in 2012 to work with former longtime Michigan State head strength and conditioning coach, Mr. Ken Mannie, and former head football coach, Mark D'Antonio. Dr. Guess has 18 years of experience as a strength and conditioning coach at the collegiate level. Since Dr. Guess' arrival as a full-time staff member, the Spartans have won 2 Big Ten championships and played in 8 bowl games, including 4 BCS and New Year's Day 6 bowls. Dr. Guess earned a bachelor's degree from Michigan State University in 2002 and graduated from Tiffin University in 2007 with a master's degree in business administration. He was an all-academic Big Ten selection in 1998. While at Michigan State, Guess was a 4-year letter winner for football from 98 to 2001 and earned 2 letters as a guard with the Michigan State basketball team. He was part of 2 Big Ten titles and an NC2A Final Four appearance in '99 with the Spartan basketball team. Guess, who played 45 games and recorded 111 tackles, tallied a career-high 47 tackles, 6 pass breakups, and 4 interceptions as a senior in 2001. In 1999, Guess was one of the components on a defense that ranked number 1 in the Big Ten in rushing defense, and during the 2000 season, Michigan State led the conference in both total defense and pass defense. Dr. Guess completed his doctoral program with the United States Sports Academy in the summer of 2021. His research involves the perception of educational barriers and transition of African American male student athletes. In addition to his 12 years at MSU, Coach was the secondary coach and assistant strength coach at Tiffin University in 2005, staff assistant at Cincinnati in 2006, secondary coach and football strength and conditioning coach at Kentucky State in 2007, head strength and conditioning coach at Alcorn State in 2008, assistant strength and conditioning coach at South Florida in 2009, tight ends coach at Cincinnati in 2009, and then assistant director of strength and conditioning at Notre Dame in 2010 and 2011. Guy's been around. A native of Wayne, Michigan, he and his wife, Bianca, have 1 daughter, Nadia. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Guess.
Well, thanks for having me, Coach. It's an honor and privilege to be on your podcast, get a chance to talk to you and meet you for the first time in person.
Yeah. If you call this in person, but it's as
Yeah.
close to in person as we're going to get right now. So, yeah, so I'm excited about having you on here, one, to talk basketball, but also to talk about your journey in strength and conditioning, some of the I guess you could say common friends and coworkers that we have had in our lives, and mentors, etc. So I'm really excited about this opportunity.
I am too. I can't wait.
All right, can we start with you talking about your journey going from high school all the way to Michigan State?
All right. Well, it's a long journey, so I'm gonna keep it quick as possible.
Yeah.
So high school, I was at Wayne Memorial High School in Wayne, Michigan, right outside of Detroit. Actually, right next to the Metro Detroit Airport. So played football and basketball there. Graduated from there. Got recruited to come to Michigan State. Coach Saban recruited me and Coach Izzo to come here. Played football and basketball here. Played basketball for 2 years, football for 5. When I finished, graduated, went home, ended up coaching my high school basketball team for 3 years. Had numerous other like side jobs. Like one of them was I was a perfume and cologne salesman, you know, an online travel agent.
Oh wow.
And I say also I worked at Ballet Total Fitness. I was a personal trainer. Left on the high school sector, went to college, went to Tiffin University as a graduate assistant because my wife, at the time, my girlfriend had a job at Tiffin. So I followed her and ended up getting a job because we just got finished playing arena football.
You were playing arena?
Yeah, I played arena football for 2 years, with amongst all the other stuff.
Yeah, you busy man.
So then I went from Tiffin to Cincinnati as a graduate assistant with Coach Antonio. Then left there. Coach Antonio came here. I went to Kentucky State because I didn't want to be at GA anymore. So I was a defensive back coach at Kentucky State. And the strength coach and the video coordinator. Left there, went to Alcorn State to be the head strength coach. Was there for a year. Then went to South Florida to be the assistant strength coach for everybody. But my main sports was men's basketball and volleyball. Was there for 6 months. Went back to Cincinnati to be the tight ends coach for Brian Kelly. 2009, won the Big East championship. Then left there with the Notre Dame. Went back to the weight room. I was assistant director of strength and conditioning with Coach Flint and Coach Longo was our head strength coach. Was there for 2.5 years. Then I was at Notre Dame for 2.5 years, and I came to Michigan State in 2012. Been here the whole time. Strength coach, player development person, and then this past July, I moved over to football, basketball. Moved from football to basketball. So now I'm reunited with Coach Izzo as the basketball strength coach.
That's amazing. I got so many questions. So when you were coaching at Cincinnati for Coach Kelly, because he's known for the tight ends that he's had and how hard he recruits tight ends, and you were obviously coaching one of his important positions. What was that like, working for Coach Kelly and coaching the tight ends, knowing how much he valued that position?
That's a great question because at first I didn't know that. Because I was at Cincinnati the first time when Coach Antonio came to Michigan State. I stayed for the bowl game and Coach Kelly coached the bowl game, and I was a corners coach. They gave me a position to coach. I was a corners coach. They're really paying attention to the offense at the time. So then I came back. I was a tight ends coach, and then I didn't know how important it was until I think my very first practice. I feel like I got fired my very first practice because one of the guys ran the play wrong and coaches went off. Yeah. I'm like, what's wrong with this guy? And they finally had a meeting with him. He's like, listen here, this is my baby. You gotta make sure you take care of these guys. And so it was crazy. So I had 5 phenomenal tight ends. Yeah. And it was Kazim was one. Ben Kaduli was our conference that year. He's a senior. Adrian Robinson was a junior. Travis Kelsey was a sophomore. And then Ben Annex was a true freshman. I think 4 out of 5 guys were playing in the NFL. Yeah. And Travis Kelsey is still doing pretty good things.
Yeah. That's amazing. That is amazing. So now, a lot of people, and I guess part of our listening audience understands this because they've had to do it. But when you were a high school coach, you worked at a health club, you sold cologne, and then you did a travel agency, and all of that was just to make ends meet, right?
Yes. Those are some of my jobs. I also worked at UPS. Like a typical day when I was in high school, I was my very first year coaching basketball. I was a janitor at a hospital from 6 to 12, and then I go home, take a nap. Then I go to UPS from 3 to 6, and then the first 2 years I did that. Also, I went to I was selling perfume cologne on the street, and I was a online travel agent. That like the first year, and then the second year, I got rid of the janitor job, which I hated with a passion, but I needed to do something, make some money. Still worked at UPS. Then I was at Bally's, Total Fitness for a couple hours. Then I worked in high school. Then the second and third year, I was a building sub for one school. Still worked at Bally's Total Fitness, and then I was still coaching.
Yeah, just trying to pay the bills. That's kind of like being an intern in itself. But what that allowed you to do, though, that allowed you to work with a lot of different people under a lot of different circumstances. You had to be able to adjust and move on the run. So that's super. That is a huge commitment from a young man.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was I wasn't getting that much sleep at the time, but I had to find a way to help my mother pay the bills. So I had to do what I had to do to make it happen.
All right. So you mentioned a big mentor of mine and someone that I still respect a great deal, and I get to see 2-3 times a year, and that's Coach Saban. So can you talk a little bit about your time with Coach Saban, with him being your head coach and your position coach? And probably, arguably, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, college football coach of all time, or at least of modern times. So can you talk to us about that experience?
Oh, at the time, I didn't know what was going on. So I just thought that he was crazy and something was wrong with him. But it was, as I got older, I realized how detailed he was, and how being detailed is important to everything you do. So, like I said, he was my head coach. Coach D'Antonio was my position coach. Yeah. So I had some of the best coaches, period, that I met with every single day. Like one day we was in a meeting, and then Coach Saban comes into the meeting. At the time, we didn't have all the digital cameras. We had a computer. It's like on a beta VHS tape.
Yeah.
And so you only can watch it in one room at a time. He come to the DB room, lay down on the floor, and he knows exactly where we was at by watching a piece of the play. He'd coach you up, talk about what's your footwork. It's like minute, very basic details they talk about. And but by the time I became my third year playing football, I understood like what he was talking about as far as eye control, footwork, do little things right. Everything I knew exactly what he was talking about my third year. My second year, I kind of knew what he was talking about, but I was too busy trying to play basketball and football to really even care about it. So by the time my third year got, I knew what he was talking about. And as I got older and became coaching, became a father, so now okay, these small detail things will help me get a head up on everybody else, a foot up on everybody else. And then I had Coach Izzo, was the exact same way. So I couldn't get away from it. So I went from football to basketball back to football, and then they all kept saying the same thing. They all kept saying, you gotta pay attention to the details. You gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta know the offense in basketball and on football inside and out. You gotta know what everybody's supposed to be doing. You gotta make sure you be a leader and coach everybody else around you. So I had no choice but to be good at what I do.
Yeah. And on top of your business too, because I know those two men didn't put up with much foolishness. So you had to be on top of your game. So, in addition to those two great coaches, you also had somebody else that was pretty intense, and that's Coach Ken Mannie, who was the reason why I came to LSU. When I was offered the job, there were a lot of people who, told me all the negatives about Coach Saban. So I got a hold of Coach Mannie's number, and I called him and asked him why he didn't take the LSU job, and did it have something to do with Coach? And he said, no, it had nothing to do with Coach Saban. He said, I'm a Northerner, and I've got a good situation here, and I've decided that this is the best place for me and my family, and I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing here. And this was his words. He said, if you want to work for a man that's going to support you more than any coach that you've ever worked for, who believes in the weight room, he believes in the running, he says, you need to take that job, because he's going to have your back every day. And he was telling the truth. And that's exactly what it was like the entire time that I worked with him. And I didn't work with him long here, just 4 years, but Coach Mannie was honest with me. And so can you talk a little bit about Coach Mannie and his influence on you?
Oh, so yeah, Coach Mannie is humongous influence. So he always gonna tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. It might be harsh. It might be, he might put his arm around you, but it depends on who you are and how you can take information. But he always gonna be honest with you and tell you the truth. And that's all you ask for somebody, is just to be honest with you and tell you the truth. He loved us. He loved all his players. He loved us to death. He's like a father figure. He always will take care of you the way you need to be taken care of, as far as counseling, as far as mentoring, as far as you doing the right things, you're doing the wrong things. He'd give us a letter. Every senior that graduated got a handwritten letter from him. And he would always, like I said, always just shoot it to you straight. So sometimes people couldn't take it, because they don't want somebody telling the truth. But he tell you the truth at all times, no matter what. And then at the end of when I came back to coach with him, he always have like a quote of the day. So at the end of each lift, he have a quote. He tell the guys certain quote, explain it to them, give a story to it, so you can always take something with you after each lift. So it was, and then when I got my last year, and I finally figured out what a graduate assistant was, I asked him. I told him I want to be a strength coach, and he told me, "Well, you got to be a GA, you got to do all this other stuff." So it all went full circle. So I ended up coming back and worked for him full time. Was it 15 years later? So it was amazing.
What's he doing now? Is he still there in East Lansing?
Yes, he's in East Lansing. He retired a few years ago, and then he comes back to a couple games and the reunions. So I'm gonna try to harass him. I'm gonna harass him to come over here to the basketball weight room one day during the lift, so I can have him critique me.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of critiquing, I've always heard, and you may not know this guy, but you remember a man that used to come watch y'all do the fourth quarter program, Buck? You know Buck Nystrom?
Buck Nystrom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, are the stories true about him and being, carrying a stick around with him? And
oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. That was him. Cause I didn't know who he was at first. Like, who's this dude walking around the stick? And then they finally told us who he was. And now, if you walk through our, we have a wall with all the first team all Big Ten players. He's one of the first pitchers on the list.
So he played football at Michigan State.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that. Yeah, he's world famous, man. World famous. All right, now the last person I want to talk about is Dr. Rosen.
The Wizard.
The Wizard, and that was his nickname here in Baton Rouge also. So for the listeners, Dr. Lonnie Rosen, he's a psychiatrist, and he teaches at Michigan State, but he also works with a lot of collegiate football teams. And so he used to fly from East Lansing to Baton Rouge when Coach Saban got the job here. And then he did it for a long time for Coach Miles until he quit traveling. But Dr. Rosen would work with our players, and it was, really hands-on sports psychology. And he would visit with the coaches, and I used to rely heavily on Dr. Rosen. Whenever I had a difficult kid, I would always call him up, and he would give me pointers and how to handle the different personalities. And I guess, is he still doing that now at Michigan State?
Yes, he is. It's amazing. So with football, like I said, I've been with football for the last 11 years. Yeah. So every kid that come here, so we get 25 to 30 recruits each cycle. So each football student athlete will meet with him for at least 15 minutes. And then the student athlete have the opportunity to continue to meet with them or not continue to meet with them. But you had to meet with them for the first 15 minutes. And I think he has like a 95%, return fee. I mean, they come back, they go back to him because he's amazing. So he meets you for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and he can tell you like some things you can do to improve and some things you're going to stay away from. Then as a coach, he helped us also. He'll tell you this is how you coach this kid, this is how you help this kid become better, and shy away from this. Don't say this about him, or don't do this, or do this and do that. And it's, like I said, in 15 minutes, he can tell you, he can break a whole situation down. Yeah. And I think basketball meet with him too. Basketball also. So every new guy meet with him. Basketball meet with him. And also we have more mental health specialists now.
It's a lot more popular now.
Yeah. But Dr. Rosen is the GOAT.
Yeah, he's the godfather of sports psychology. And it's funny that you called him the Wizard because he looks like a wizard. He looks like Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But we had a kicker. We had a kicker that was struggling, and he talked to Dr. Rosen, and he started kicking better. So one day, I was standing on the practice field, and he was sitting beside me. He had a little swagger about him, and I said, "Man, you're doing great. You've done so much better." And he turned his eyes at me, and he said, "That's because I'm a ninja." And I said, "What?" He said, "I'm a ninja." And I said, "What do you mean you're a ninja?" So he started going into this process and how he thinks like a ninja. A ninja stays in the dark, and he comes out only when he's needed. And he only has, two tools, a sword and a knife or something. And he told me this story. And this dude was kicking lights out. So I started asking, him a little more into the ninja routine. And he got that from Dr. Rosen. And
Yeah.
this guy went from struggling to lights out like that. And Dr. Rosen gave him this scenario of how being a kicker was like being a ninja. And, he broke it down for this guy, and this guy bought into it. And I mean, he was lights out. And so I nicknamed him Ninja. And ever since then, whenever I see him, I call him Ninja. And it was a funny story, man. That guy cracked me up. But I love Dr. Rosen. So, and please tell Dr. Rosen and Ken that I said hello. Coach
Will do.
Yeah, they're good people. All right, now let's get into some strength and conditioning. And I want to start with, what was it about the profession that drew you to it? Was there something about that, or that was the only option that you had available, or how did that all happen?
That's a great question. So what drew me towards strength and conditioning was I wanted to have an opportunity to make an impact on the whole entire team and all the student athletes, and also have an opportunity to spend time with my family. Because I was a defensive backs coach. I was tight ends coach. I was a linebackers coach, and it was. I felt at one point in time I was spending more time with the football guys and recruiting than I was with my wife and my daughter. So that's why I went to strength and conditioning, so I can have an opportunity to impact the whole entire team, not just a position group. So, and then I think personally, I had a better chance to build more relationships. That was also more important to me, also than being a position coach.
Yeah, and I think that's probably people that have done both. That is ultimately what made me decide to take up strength and conditioning versus being a position coach, because I did not want to recruit. And I had one really good opportunity at one of the places I was coaching. They asked me. Now in high school, I coached a position, coached other sports, but once I got to college, I saw how much how much time they spent on the road and watching high school tape, that I knew that that's not what I wanted to do. My personality didn't do well in a dark room where everybody's sitting looking at a screen.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I gotta be going all the time. So I really enjoyed the weight room. All right. So, and you've coached a lot of sports. All right.
Yeah.
You've been around a lot of sports. You coached a lot of positions in your career. Which one of those have been the most challenging? So, this is two parts. Which sport or position that you've worked with has been the most challenging to work with? And which one, as a strength coach, has probably been the most challenging to program for?
I answer the second question first. The most challenging the program for is baseball and basketball, because their schedules are like So I had baseball also in South Florida, and in South Florida you have it's baseball all year round. So we have fall ball, and then we have you have fall ball. Then you go home for Christmas break. Then you start right back up the week before school start. So you got to figure a way how to program for the pitchers, the catchers, and then for everybody else. So that was crazy. They got programmed for just standing around because at practice they do a lot of standing around. Now basketball is when I play basketball in the summer, you can practice. You can all you can do is play open gym. So so the basketball strength coach had to do conditioning in the summer. Now is you want to try to stay away from that as much as possible because you want to overrun them because you want to do conditioning and then the second time they don't have practice maybe twice, 2 or 3 times a week, and then you don't want to do too much running. But then also look at like our schedule, we have numerous 8 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m. basketball games throughout the week. So you got to figure out how you're going to train them in season, keep them strong, keep them fresh, and then still get them to the games, 2 or 3 games a week we have. So that's them are the two most challenging. Football, I think football is a little easier because you have 1 game a week.
Yeah.
You have your you can train 2 or 3 days a week, hard beginning of the week. They have a game on Saturday, but when you get or let's say not Saturday, you have a game every 7 days. Let's say that because I know some teams we might play on Thursday or Wednesday now could be toward the end of the season, but I think football is in my mind is a little easier because they schedule. And then the first question was athletes. Oh, so the more challenging group of athletes to train is I love them to death because I was one of them is our DBs. DBs because they want to tell you how strong it is, but they don't want to lift any weights.
Yeah.
And not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then basketball players don't want to lift weights because it's going to mess up their jumper.
Yeah.
So with the DBs, I always say, let's hear, I play defensive back. It's always better to be stronger and to not be strong. Yeah. I always try to tell them the goal is to make you look like we got 20 running backs because y'all be thick, strong, and athletic. Then for the basketball players, I always tell them that it's better to be strong because now when you go to the basket, you can finish and ones, and it make you more explosive. And you'll gain some weight, but you gain muscle, and then you play faster and more confidence.
Yeah, basketball is a contact sport, man. There's a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot that goes on that court, and y'all don't play any chump teams either.
No.
Like every one of y'all's games, like you said, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, they're all primetime games.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into college basketball. And, so you mentioned all the practice. And that is something that has changed even in high school now.
Yeah.
My son, my 2 oldest sons played football and baseball in high school, but my youngest son was a basketball player and a football player. So he would go to school and have workouts and football practice in the morning, and then they would have basketball practice in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was a freshman and during training camp, his freshman and sophomore year during training camp, he played tight end. And it's a big school, so, he played freshman ball as a tight end. And then his sophomore year going into JV, he was a tight end. So that matched well with basketball because of his body type.
Yeah.
but they were a spread team, and he was more of a hand in the dirt tight end and not the guy that's, standing up in a 2-point stance stretched out. So the head coach called me and said he's going to move him to offensive line,
Yeah,
and
the
that he
tackle.
would, yeah, said he'll be the day one, he'll be my most athletic offensive lineman. And if he gains weight, he'll become a starter. And that's what happened. Now, it took him a while to do it because he backed up a high school All-American and a guy that starts at LSU, Emory Jones. So he backed up an All-American. But his senior year, he became a starter. So he had to quit playing basketball because they would lift weights, practice in the morning, and then they would practice basketball in the afternoon. And it was like games all the time, and he just couldn't gain weight.
Yep.
And he's like, I'm not going to play in basketball in college, so I got to give one of them up. So, he gave up basketball, but he practiced, sometimes probably 6 or 8 hours a day, which is good for kids. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining. It's good for kids to be working. It's better than sitting on the couch or laying in bed playing games. But it's changed a lot. Like when I first started coaching in college, our DBs and wide receivers would get together once a week and they'd throw the ball for, an hour, and not everybody would be out there, and seldom, it was usually just all one-on-one. And I'm sure that was the way, when you were at Michigan State. And then now it's full-fledged practice in the summertime with football.
Yes,
Like,
it is.
if you didn't
Craziness.
know that, yeah, it's full practice. They don't have helmets on, or at least, we never wore helmets, and I don't think they wear helmets now, but, it's like regular practice.
Yep.
Just one-on-one, and, O and D line going against each other and everything. Well, that's cool, man. All right. So, how did your experience as a collegiate athlete and a collegiate sport and position coach help you in the weight room when you made that permanent switch to being a strength coach?
Well, like you just said about your son, that was me in college. So
Yeah.
The agreement was to, but the agreement got confused a little bit. But I had to live for football, and then we had winter conditioning. So I went to winter conditioning, then went to basketball practice.
Yeah. And that winter conditioning program was no joke.
No, the fourth quarter program.
Yeah.
No.
The fourth quarter program is no joke.
Yeah, so I had to do all those, and then the year 3, I had to make a decision if I'm going to keep playing basketball or not. And so then I stayed playing football because there was an opportunity to start. So how do I use that transition? How do I use that my life as a student athlete to help coach my athletes? I don't really say it as much, but they say it. But I've been through everything they've been through as a student athlete, one, and as a football and basketball player. So when I program or we do lifts or runs, I use that knowledge I have when I played and my experiences to help them get through things that they don't need to learn the hard way, because I'm here to help them to get through the hard stuff and not have to hit the head on the wall all the time and to keep doing the things that unsuccessful over and over again. And I try to talk to them. And the thing is, a lot of these kids need somebody to talk to, whether they like it or not. And I just try to help them reach their goals. And then once they reach their goal, try to reach another one. So first of all, I try to use that. I've been through the situation they've been through for the most part. I know what it will look like to be successful. And then also I figure out what their goals are and help them try to obtain their goals. Not by throwing it in their face, just by reminding them, this is why you're here. This is what you need to do to get there, and we're here to help you.
So two questions. No, one question. How would your life be different as a collegiate athlete if they had NIL?
Oh, it'd be crazy because I was kind of okay and had pretty good grades, and I played two sports, so I was kind of one of the most popular football players because I played another sport. They see my face because that's what I had. Most football players don't have. You can't really see their faces.
Yeah.
So I just had to figure out how to get the money and save it.
Yeah.
But this is an amazing opportunity for these student athletes. And 2 years ago here, you learn what happened when your team's successful. Then last year you learn what happened when your team not successful. So the more success your team have, and the more money you can obtain through NIL. So I just make sure that we win in all the games.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what. So when I got to Miami, there was a quote by Jimmy Johnson that everybody talked about, and it was when the Hurricanes win, everybody gets some.
Yep, that's facts.
And that was before NIL.
Yeah.
All right, did you have a car when you were at Michigan State?
What? I had year 3. I got a 1988 Regal. It was maroon. It was like 8 different shades of maroon with a light blue bumper, and I bought it from the junkyard for $1,000 from where I'm from, outside of Inkster, and I had that car all the way up until I had like for 12 years.
Yeah. Oh, you got a big return on that investment.
Yes. So the Bishop junkyard, he was mad at me because he wanted the car back because the car was supposed to last for 12 years.
Yeah, that would have been a totally different story. You would have went broke with that NIL money. You would have lost something.
Yeah, he brought me a car.
Yeah. So you made money on that Buick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, now I wanted to say something about the 4-quarter program. So, Marcus Spears, he's on TV every day. We had 2 players that were going to play basketball here and play football.
Yeah.
And I had been at Tennessee and at Miami where we had multi-sport athletes, and I knew it was hard. But when Coach told me that Marcus and Michael were going to go from football to basketball, that's without a break,
Yeah.
And they were going to go through the running program and work out with us. I was like, I don't know about that. So they both went out there, and they were out there for about 2 weeks, and they were freshmen. And, they both played as freshmen on the football team. And when basketball season started, man, you could tell they'd come in that weight room, man, they were tired because they didn't have any break whatsoever. And that lasted for about 2 weeks, and they both retired from playing basketball. Hats off to you for being able to do that as long as you did, because I know the work that you had to put in with Coach Mannie and the running program and Coach Izzo, because Coach Izzo wasn't going to give you a break either.
No.
Yeah, we had, in fact, he's an assistant track coach at LSU now. We had a guy named Benny Brazil that played football for us, played wide receiver, great special teams player, and he ran track, and he was really good in track and won a couple gold medals in the NC2A, in the mile relay and the 400 meter high hurdles. And he actually went to Athens for the Olympics and made it to the finals of the 400 hurdles, and then flew back to Baton Rouge and was in the workout, that next day. I mean, right after, competing in the Olympics in Athens, Greece. And so that's tough, man, when you do that type of stuff. So hats off to you there.
Yeah, that's crazy. We did that. We went to the Final Four. My second year here, came back the next day I was at football practice.
Yeah, without a break. And now let me ask you this. Did you have a break? And this is important because I have a lot of high school coaches, that listen to the podcast. So when football season was over that year and you went to basketball, did you get any break between football and basketball?
No, no. You should have. I would say, I recommend give the students at least a week off.
Yeah.
At least 1 week off. But I went from football, and then football was over with on Saturday. Then Sunday I was at basketball practice.
And y'all went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And then you went right back in. And by then, y'all were probably in the fourth quarter program. Or getting
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the last week of the fourth quarter. No, actually that year we went to Final Four. I came back the next day. I was at practice.
Yeah. Y'all were practicing for spring ball.
It's the first practice of spring ball.
Yeah, that's tough. And that's probably, you probably sat back and was like, man, I can't do this anymore.
But I still did fourth quarter program though during.
That's right. You did fourth quarter program all through basketball.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, this is crazy.
What did you weigh then?
Like 189.
And playing safety.
Yeah. So then as soon as I got done playing, I went from 189. I couldn't get heavy to 189. Got to 193. My bench press went up. Every number in the weight room, skyrocketed. And then I end up finishing up at 195 to 197.
Yeah.
I can never get over that.
Yeah, you're getting rest.
Yeah.
All right. So as time has passed at Michigan State, I'm sure that there's some things that Coach Mannie and his staff did traditionally, and that stuff may have passed or not. But do you feel like it's your responsibility to pass some of those old lessons down to the younger generations of coaches there and the student athletes?
Yes, I do, because I had Coach Saban, had Coach Mannie, Coach Izzo, Coach Antonio. Those are the people who helped mold me.
Great.
Awesome. They all molded me to where I'm at now. So in each lift, I try to give them like a thought of the day, like Coach Mannie did when I came back and coached, and also try to help our guys be better men when they leave, because I use the weight room as my avenue to help our student athletes be better people. So they get done playing sports, they won't go through the depression most people go through, because it's the first time they're not playing a sport. They've been playing since they was 11 and 12 years old. So my goal was to make sure I help them through that now by giving them different nuggets, giving them different things they can do, and then being able to talk to them. So if they do have an issue, they can go talk to somebody and not try to go through it by themselves.
Yeah. And that's a tough adjustment for a lot of people. Whether, me, anybody, when you've done something as long, as if you started when you were a kid all the way through college, man, it becomes a major part of who you are as a person.
Yep.
When you take that away, you're taking away a part of you.
Yeah.
And it takes some people a long time, and then some people never make the adjustment, unfortunately. But there is life after collegiate and professional athletics. All right, so I know the season is upon you.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk some nuts and bolts here. So what does a typical week look like for the team right now in the weight room?
So right now in the weight room, so we have, so we're transitioned to, like, this is basically our camp. If it's football, it's like our camp. So we go 3 days a week. We have 3 lift days. possibly 4 throughout the week. So this week we lifted. The goal was to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but our schedule has changed sometimes. So now they go Monday, like this week we lift Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Last week we lifted Monday, Thursday, Friday. No, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday last week. The week before that was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So the goal is to get three lifts in a week. Typically, the Monday lift would be harder. The Tuesday lift would be not as hard, and then the Wednesday would be a little less because we always had some on Friday. Or we had some on Friday the last 3 weeks. The one week we had Coach Izzo's camp out for the student Izzo, the student section. Last week we had Midnight Madness, and then this week we're gonna have a potential green and white game. Yeah. So that's the typical week on camp. For the summer, the typical week was we lifted 4 days a week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That stayed the same all summer, so there was no the schedule changed. It was lifting, and then coach would put in the summer the workouts for the guys. So, which was amazing because the weight room is important to coach. So he let me set the schedule in the summer, and then they just put in the practices around it. Yeah. So that's a typical. And as far as what we do in the weight room, we do like on Mondays we do some type of bar squat jump test, and then we do each lift is a full body workout, and then we just had different lifts for the legs, different lifts for upper body, different lifts for the core, and we just intertwine it in. We do med balls, slams, we do a lot of different things, plyometrics. And it's also kind of nice because our weight room is connected basically to our basketball court is connected to the weight room. So we just walk out the door, boom, you got a basketball court, and we warm up out on the basketball court, do our plyometric stuff, come in and lift, and we're done. Like during the off season, our lifts, summer I lift like an hour and a half, lift / minimum run, plyometrics, and then during the camp our lifts is 30 minutes to 40 minutes. Like I said, like it'd be 40 minutes on Monday, 30 minutes on the day 2, day 3, 25, 30 minutes. And then that's our typical, our schedule for lifting.
In the summertime when they practiced their basketball practice, how long would one of those last?
60 minutes. Like on the point is 60 minutes. Yeah. Because we only get 8 hours. Yeah. So we got the 4 hours. We got the 4 hours in the weight room, and then if we might do 2 or 3, depending on what we do for that week. If we do 2, right. If we do 2 practices, then I get that 2 hours back. Yeah. So I talk to coach usually that Sunday before to figure out what he going to do for that week. And then a lot of it predicated on the coaches. If they're on the road recruiting, then I'm gonna have all 8 hours because they go for the whole week. Yeah. So I love that part. Like that. That's what I want. Happen one time.
I would sit down and coach would call me up and say, "Hey, let's bring all your paperwork and let's sit down and work on this schedule for the next couple of weeks."
Yeah.
And I would get up there and you have the big calendar on the wall and he would already have all the practice days in there. I was like, when are we gonna lift? I would just, oh my gosh, man. And then he would cancel, like if he canceled a workout, a practice or something, I was like, ah.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned a couple of things I want to talk about, and you said minimal running, and I know why, because they're practicing.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I had this mentor, a great coach. His name is Johnny Parker. And Coach Parker used to always say that the best way to train for football is to do football drills. And,
Yes.
he coached forever in the NFL, and he is correct. But so one of my questions is how much sprint work did you do in the summertime with the basketball team?
Every Monday we do time tens. So we warm up on Mondays. Time tens we do 3 time 10s, and then we'll do half court sprints at the end of practice and then the lift.
So
Now, but I did that. But then after the second, third Monday, I said, well, while we out here, might as well do my sprints while we out here, because I noticed when we started lifting, some guys we had to warm back up again to run the sprints. So we do 3 time sprints, then we do 10 more sprints at half court, like waterfall it, so I can see them, and also get more time to recover.
Good.
Then on Thursdays we do a metabolic conditioning. So I might say, all right, sprint, free throw line and back. They rest for a couple seconds, half court and back, rest for a couple seconds. So I come up with like scenarios, and I do three rounds of 5 runs. So the bigs might go first, then the guards go second, then the bigs go again, guards go again. And then I did that we did 3 sets of that on Thursdays. So those are 2 days we sprinted. I sprinted.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesdays we would do some agility stuff, like some shuffles, sprint, backboard taps, sprint. And like you're playing defense, playing phantom defense, shuffle from the baseline to the free throw line to the half court. Then sprint. We do those on Tuesdays. Then on Fridays we'll push the sled and then do some more applied metrics.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Well-rounded. You're hitting everything. That's good stuff. All right. No conditioning in season?
No, conditioning. Only time we do conditioning in season if we are doing free throws, and if you miss the free throw, then everybody got to run.
Yeah.
But at practice, they work at practice. Now we do a lot of running in practice, and so we don't do any conditioning in practice unless we have a person that need to lose weight or we feel is not conditioned. I take them and do some low impact conditioning, like ride a bike, do a rowers, or a vertical climber, or ropes.
Yeah. All right. How much does travel affect what you do in the weight room during the season?
Oh well, I have a coach with today. I have a meeting with coach sometime today or tomorrow about moving the lifts from in the morning to right before practice because of the travel and the time of our games. And then before we go to all our weight games, I'm gonna go scout out the hotel weight room because for some of the guys who are not going to play as much, and also figure out a gym in the area. So if I can go train them there, I can. If I can't, I have to take bands, and we do body weight workouts. But the travel will affect us because we will get back so late, and I'm just trying to move the stuff so they can get a chance to get some sleep.
Yeah, which is important, especially as often as they play. And I think that's probably why you said baseball was so hard to program for also, because they play so many games throughout the week.
Yes.
Whereas football, you got one game, but in basketball and softball and baseball, it's, game after game after game and travel.
Yeah.
All right. So what kind of technology do y'all use at Michigan State? Do y'all track the players with a lot?
We have a lot of different things. So first you got Catapult. So we use Catapult for practice to measure the workload, their accelerations, the change of speed. Also, is there any asymmetries? So they're faster on the right foot to the left foot. We use in the weight room we have Elite Form, so we measure the bar speed, velocity, and then the power. So like I said, on Mondays, we do a squat jump with the bar to measure their power. And then the goal is, so I put the numbers up every Monday, what they did the week before. The goal was to get that number or higher. So it helped them train with intent. Mm-hmm. We do power pulls that measure velocity, so you want to move the bar fast. And we have force plates. We measure the eccentric, concentric power, the jumps. We have Noah boards, working on their hamstring strength and power. And the last one, just for basketball, they have shot trackers. Yeah. So you can see how many shots you made, where you shot the ball from, what the percentage was for the day. So we have a big old profile for each student athlete. Then I have a sports scientist, Ben Klein. He's a graduate assistant, and we are looking into other different things to see how we can help our guys even at another level.
Yeah. So what is his name? Darren Klein?
Benjamin Klein.
Benjamin Klein.
Yeah, he's a graduate assistant right now. Yeah. He's amazing. I'm gonna try to find a way to keep him. Yeah. But he's awesome.
Yeah. So then he does all the analytics and then gives the reports to you and the coaching staff.
Yeah. When we sit down just before we had this meeting, we were talking about how we adjust certain things and how we can help push our guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Y'all have everything you need.
Yeah, that's what I tell the guys.
Yeah, y'all didn't leave anything out. You've got it all. And you told me earlier that y'all share the facility with the women's team. In fact, they were actually getting after it when we first started the podcast. So, and y'all schedule that. Do y'all do team workouts, or do you have small groups that come in?
So currently, men's basketball, we do team workouts. So that might change next week. Depends on the schedule. I prefer to have in the perfect world, I want to move our lift to an hour before practice. Yeah. So you get half an hour lift. They're here. They are warmed up already. Then they just go right to the gym. Right. The women right now has two lift groups, like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, because of class schedules. Yeah. So that's the other option that might happen. Depends on what happens with our schedule. But right now we all lift at 7:30 in the morning, and as you know, right, we're in the middle of a camp, and that's like pulling teeth sometimes to get our guys ready to go. After we had a practice yesterday that was hard and intense. So this morning was a struggle to get them through the lift, but we got through it. So I'm trying to move the lift to a later time.
Yeah, I know how I pulled some teeth, man.
Yes, I pulled a couple this morning.
Oh, that's funny. All right, let me ask you this. What advice do you have for youth coaches and young basketball players when it comes to strength and conditioning?
All right, first, youth coaches, you have to be willing to do like the extra work to get somebody to notice you. Because there's a lot of people want to coach, but some people don't want to do. They don't want to grind. They want to do the extra work that the older coaches are not doing now, because they don't need to do it because they already done it. I would say do that. Also, network. Go and talk to other people. Like call a coach a day or email a coach a day. The worst can happen is they don't email you back. Then you get to go on to the next person. But what can happen is they can call you back. They can email you back. Or they can email you back next week because they was busy all this week. Go on YouTube University and learn as much as you can about watching YouTube videos. I get some drills that you hang your hat on. Also, if you played, that helped too. Like remember the drill that you did that you liked, and help use those drills helps young student athletes. What else? Don't be too proud to take that Division II job or the JV job that they might offer you, a JV head coaching job or position job. Take that job and learn from that job and help you get to where you want to get to. One thing I did was when I first got to Cincinnati, Coach Hinton, who's at Ohio State now, told me to create a player manual. So in the player manual, you have who you are, first of all, like your resume, and then how you would coach that particular position. I thought it was kind of crazy at first. Then as I created it, I'm like, oh man, this is sweet because now I can use this when I'm coaching my athletes. And I gave them the player profile. I gave every player this manual, and we went over it in the meeting room. And now it's like ingrained in my head. So every time I meet, every year, beginning of the year, we go over in the weight room, the fundamentals of the weight room. All right, we're going to be 10 minutes early. We're going to come in ready to go. Use the bathroom before you get here because we're not using the bathroom during my time. Your job is to make sure that you're doing what you're doing and also the guy, your partner, push him through. The weight room is a place to get better, have fun. We're going to play some music, but we're still going to have fun and we're still going to get better. It's not a punishment. So different things like that. As far as a young basketball player, if you want to be a basketball player, you need to make at least 100 shots a day. You need to work on your handles every single day. You're not going to become great after one day. It's like a compound interest. So you do it on Monday, and do it on Tuesday, and do it on Wednesday. You'll get better slowly, but surely you continue to get better. Find somebody to play with you. You don't need to go out there every day by yourself. It's easier to go out there with your teammates. My high school team was pretty good because we was always playing basketball together from when we was 12 years old until we got to high school. So when we got to high school, we was pretty good individually, but it was better together because we always played together. So you got to constantly go out there and play. Once again, go to YouTube University, find drills that will help you with your handles, help you with your jumper. Nowadays, you got camera phones. Record yourself playing basketball. So you can go back and look at your shot form or your crossover or the small things that you have now that can help you elevate your skills faster. And don't run from competition. Find competition and go play competition every single day. Because the better the competition you're playing against, the better and faster you will learn to be a better player because you know what to do, what not to do. Because I can do that against that person, but this person I got to have a counter move because they're better than my normal competition. And then have fun with it. Don't just be out there, it's a business. I got to get to the league. Have fun playing the game because if you're going to spend that much time playing the game, have fun doing it. The last thing for basketball players, it's okay to lift weights in high school. Don't be that guy, I got to work on my skills. Yeah, you have good skills, but if you're athletic, you're strong, that'll keep you from getting injured. And then if you're healthy and you're playing, you can be better. But if you get injured, you're not going to be able to get better. So lift weights. It's okay to lift weights. Also do chores at home, like pick up that laundry basket, take the garbage out. That helps you get stronger too.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. Great conversation. And I've said this many times. I don't want this show to be known as a football only strength and conditioning program. Mm-hmm. And, basketball has been good. I've tried to talk, this summer I made a commitment to try to talk to a basketball strength coach at least once a month. I didn't get that in. Now I've got to do a better job with baseball, but I feel good that we've had some great basketball minds on here. And so I appreciate you being on here. It's been great talking to you.
Thanks. It's an honor. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. It's been an honor. I love it.
Yeah. So you can follow Coach on Instagram at Dr. Lorenzo Guess. Again, that's Dr. Lorenzo Guess. And please, when you see Coach Mannie and Dr. Rosen, please tell them that I said hello, because they're great people, and they both have a lot to do with, number one, me being here, and then two, the success that I was able to enjoy for so long. Because when Coach Saban, he, first of all, he never asked me to do anything. He told me to do.
Yes, yeah.
But then he would always say, "This is how Ken did it."
Yeah.
So, there was always that pressure to make sure that I did a good job. So I appreciate Coach for pushing me and then holding me to such a high standard. So tell those
I'm
guys
going through that right now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. This brings us to the end of today's podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this podcast with all your friends. That's important. We're spreading the word. For more information about the Moffitt Method Speed, Strength, and Conditioning Program, please visit our website at themoffittmethod.fit or email us at info@themoffittmethod.fit. Thank you, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.